countries for the treatment of Windrush migrants. She told them the UK government values the contribution they'd made and they have a right to stay here.
I want to apologise to you today because we are genuinely sorry for any anxiety that has been caused.
Paulette Wilson has lived in the UK for over 50 years but was threatened with deportation and put in an immigration centre.
It's just upsetting to think that an ordinary person like me could go through something like that. I'm still going through hell at the moment.
Caribbean leaders call for a speedy response and for injustices to be put right. Also tonight, the nerve agent used to poison Sergei Skripal and his daughter was in liquid form with the highest concentration at his home. The pay squeeze is drawing to a close as unemployment falls to its lowest level since 1975. Generation Rent, how a third of so-called millennials may never be able to afford a home of their own. And it may be microscopic, but it's a huge honour, the Plankton, named after David Attenborough and the BBC Blue Planet team.
Of course, it's a great compliment, and one's delighted.
Coming up on Sports Day later in the hour on BBC News, trouble at Rangers following their cup defeat. They've suspended 2 of their players after a confrontation with the manager.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 6. Having refused a meeting with him up until yesterday morning on the subject, this morning the Prime Minister met and personally apologised to the leaders of 12 Caribbean countries for the treatment of the Windrush migrants who came to the UK from 1948 onwards. Theresa May says she was sorry for the anxiety that had been caused by many having their British citizenship questioned, some losing their jobs and benefits, some threatened with deportation. Our correspondent Adina Campbell reports.
That was the first day that he started school.
Paulette Wilson, another descendant of the Windrush generation, who arrived into the UK as a child from Jamaica. Despite living here for more than 50 years, she was held in a detention centre for not having the right paperwork.
When I saw the illegal paper, I just didn't understand it, and I kept it away from my daughter for about 2 weeks. I was just walking around in a day thinking, why am I illegal? It's just upsetting to think that an ordinary person like me could go through something like that. I'm still going through hell at the moment.
Arrivals at Tilbury. In Jamaica, they couldn't find work. Discouraged but full of hope, they sailed for Britain.
The treatment of long-term immigrants from Commonwealth countries now living in the UK has become the focus of international political debate. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness today met his counterpart Theresa May to discuss the welfare of those affected. He reacted to the controversy in a speech to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in London.
Prime Minister, we welcome your response and we look forward to a speedy implementation of your proposed solution.
Then came another, more intimate discussion at number 10 with other Commonwealth leaders. And inside, hoping to make amends, Theresa May apologised.
I want to dispel any impression that my government is in some sense clamping down on Commonwealth citizens, particularly those in the Caribbean who built a life here. I take this issue very seriously. The Home Secretary apologised to the House of Commons yesterday for any anxiety caused, and I want to apologise to you today.
After the meeting, some of those who'd attended gave their reaction.
It is regrettable that the circumstance which we now find ourselves was allowed to get to this far. But nonetheless, we want to consecrate the future, and we hope that these troubling issues that are impacting the migrant population would not surface again.
Jamaica's Prime Minister says he's poised to work with the British government.
It is a concerning matter, but we take note that the government has given a commitment, and we stand ready as Caribbean leaders to ensure that the commitment is kept.
Empire Windrush arrived into Tilbury Port in Essex back in 1948, carrying the first wave of immigrants from the Commonwealth. And in 1971, they were legally entitled to remain in the UK, but the Home Office did not keep records. Regulations were tightened in 2014 under the then Home Secretary Theresa May, and without proof of legal status, this restricted access to healthcare, housing and jobs. Ralston Knight came to the UK as a baby from the small Caribbean island Curacao. He spent most of his life living, working and raising his family in Leicester. But in 2010, he was denied from updating his passport and says this led to him being let go at work. Watching Theresa May's apology, he's trying to stay positive.
I think it's a genuine apology. Just got to take her at her word. But I just hope that the genuineness will be seen in the action of what happens after from now on. People getting the right to stay in Britain, whether that's by passport, the right to work, so that this issue of immigration doesn't come up again.
Whether apologies